Hi, my lovelies. Woo here. Today I just want to talk a little bit about fascia, but first I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. My background is in sports medicine, so I've been studying movement for the last 17 years. I also have been an athlete since I was about 5, maybe a little bit younger with gymnastics. And I want to kind of show you what I've noticed over the years, working with thousands of athletes, clients, patients. I've worked in many different settings from high school to pro. I've worked, with national teams before, so I've got lots of experience with lots of different levels and also with, just everyday people. And this is something that people can do from it doesn't matter your experience level, and I really hope that you enjoy it. So fascia is all about, it's this organ in your body. It's the biggest organ. It's bigger than your skin because it covers everything. It covers every muscle cell, every group of muscle cells, every muscle in general, and then it also covers all of your bones, your organs, and then there's all this other connective tissue throughout your body that talk to each other from your head to your toes. And by knowing this, you get a little bit better idea of how it's easier to release the tension in your body. So you're not just stretching a muscle, you're stretching all the fascia and getting the fascia to release. One of the main things to kind of think about when you're doing this is that you are asymmetrical. So over the years, I'm sure you've all learned how to do specific stretches to do specific things, and that's all great and everything, but if you're only working in one plane, one stretch, you're not really getting the full release out of it. So that's what we're going to kind of do today. So I'm going to kind of show you how to intuitively release your fascia, and so that you get a more complete stretch. Also, I have noticed spending like a half hour on this, maybe a little bit longer, and noticing before and after how much different my body looks. And it's because I'm able to get the fascia to stretch in a specific way. Our body remembers everything, so it remembers exactly how the tension got put there, and so when you release it, you have to keep that in mind as well, is that your body is kind of looking for that same way it got put there to kind of come back out, or something that feels similar, or a way that your body feels able to completely relax. With this, you might also notice that you have some memories come up. You might have some feelings, emotions, things like that, all completely normal. It's just your body holds all of this and stores it, and as you're able to release the tension, you're able to release all of the emotional and not as well as the physical. One thing that I like to do normally is listen to a little bit of music with it. Today I won't be, but normally it's like Etta James and Frank Sinatra, kind of stuff that's a little bit more smooth and quiet versus something that's really gonna like fire you up. But not that there's nothing, but you can get some benefit out of getting something that's a little bit upbeat. Just whatever you're feeling, because sometimes those songs can evoke different emotions in you and help you release the tension that you're trying to release. So today, kind of want to go over, I've got a little bit of hamstring tightness, and so I'm going to kind of focus on loosening up my hips a little bit. So if you're following along, listen to your body. Your movements are going to be different than my movements because our fascia is wound differently. So I'm going to kind of, specifically in my right leg, so I'm going to kind of feel around on my leg to find some tension, and then I noticed on the inside of my knee right back here, I've got a little bit more tension than I do on the outside. So I'm going to shift my weight back into that inside, and I notice that I'm putting a lot of pressure down on my big toe. And with this, I'm just going to keep putting some more weight on that, and just to feel, now this isn't painful, like this feels actually like it's a good stretch, and I'm going to keep kind of putting pressure until I feel like my body needs to switch in a different way. So like right now I'm feeling like I want to keep going down in this line, but I'm also feeling like I need to take a little bit of weight off of that direct line. So I'm just shifting my weight a little bit, and I'm still feeling a lot of tension down here in that big toe. And then I'm actually going to move forward a little bit, get a little bit more tension on that, and I'm really feeling it in my arch right now, and that's really stretching. Again, none of this is painful. This is all feeling like a really great stretch. And it feels like something just released, so I'm going to kind of give it a second to see what feels different. Possibly feels like some of that fascia, especially down this line, feels like it's released a little bit. Now I'm feeling like my arch is cramping just a little bit, but it feels like I need to like squeeze it harder to really, so I'm engaging all my muscles all the way down, really pointing that toe, and then I'm just kind of adjusting a little bit to see if I can get a little bit different tension on that toe. And again, it feels like something just released, so I'm going to kind of feel that out, feel any changes, see if anything is different. And it feels a lot better throughout here. Hamstring, now when I check back in with that hamstring, I'm still feeling a little bit of tension, but the tension isn't on the inside of my knee anymore. It's feeling like it's more down the center. So I'm going to focus in on that. Right now it feels like I need to put some more weight over here. So don't be afraid to like hold on to things. Using props is very good. I'm just going to keep leaning into this. I'm starting to feel a stretch here in my hip as I'm moving. Stretch is kind of going back to my glutes, but it's still kind of running down that hamstring line. Slowly shifting my weight onto my heel as I'm moving, and I'm noticing now I can feel the attachment point right there, that sits bone in the it's your ischial tuberosity, and so as kind of going down a little bit more, feeling that hamstring really stretch, and now I'm feeling the stretch is kind of moving from my heel, kind of on the outside of my ankle. When I was younger, like I said, I used to play a lot of sports, so I would sprain my ankles quite a bit, particularly in high school. It was like every day I felt like I sprained it again. So now my ankle feels a lot looser, my hamstring feels a little bit better. Gonna kind of go into just a little lunge here, see how that feels. I still feel that pressure through like the ball of my foot, bending my knee just a little bit to see what that does. Doesn't seem to be really stretching the hamstring anymore, so gonna kind of look for maybe a different position, see what, maybe if I do a little, like this is like a normal stretch that you would find for hamstring, but now I'm gonna hold onto this table and kind of move around with it, try to keep my toes off the floor, and really put some pressure into that heel and see if that does anything. And I'm just noticing as I move and shift, you've got 4 hamstring muscles, and as you move from one side to the other, how it's kind of stretching and engaging them a little bit differently. And then just kind of seeing, right now I'm feeling more of that inside hamstring going all the way down to my knee again. And just putting some more weight. And it feels just a little bit, this side now feels a little looser than this side, which is okay. Like I said, we're asymmetrical, so everything's going to be a little bit different. So if I did the exact same thing I did on this side and do it on this side, it's going to be different because the tension's going to be different, so I'm going to shift my weight differently. If I kind of want to feel into my hamstrings and my hips, like coming from a hip perspective, so if I just slowly kind of move down, feeling the tension in the back here, pulling from that ischial tuberosity all the way down to my knee again. And then I'm just noticing as I bend over a little bit more how, again, I'm actively putting weight into my heel here. And as I'm doing this, it is changing this hamstring. It's making it work a little bit as it's being stretched. And so it's being a little bit more forgiving now. I feel a little bit more stretch than I had just a minute ago. And again, this hamstring's feeling much looser now than this side. And then I'm feeling like I need a little balance in this. I feel like this outside hip is needing a little, could be that IT bands kind of acting up here a little bit. Maybe it wants some attention. So I'm going to kind of just feel, again, I'm on the outside of my foot. I'm feeling the tension through my hip going down the side of my leg, and I'm putting pressure into the edge of my foot here. Now I'm leaning back just a little bit, putting more pressure into my heel. Now I'm feeling it slightly more into my hamstring. And then as I slowly rotate my heel down, the pressure is going more towards my hamstring again. So I'm feeling a little bit more hamstring stretch now. And you notice I'm not holding anything for very long. I'm not holding one position 30 seconds until it releases. I'm just literally winding around until I find something that feels like, oh, this is a nice stretch, and then kind of like putting some pressure into it. And when I say pressure, I mean I'm activating a muscle. So putting some more weight on it. So like either I'm shifting to put some more pressure, or I'm activating a muscle to put more pressure onto that. Like right now, kind of feel like my calf needs a little bit of stretch, so I am more putting pressure down towards my knee this way with my weight, and then I'm actively lifting up with my toes to see if that will release anything here in the back. And now I'm feeling like, starting to feel a little bit of that cramp that I've had in my foot today. I used to have a lot of pain, a lot of like numbness, tingly, shooty kind of nerve pain that would go through there. Sometimes I'd feel like a hot poker right between my toes. But since I've been doing things like this, where I've been really trying to hone in on stuff like this right now, haven't really had as much of an issue. So this seems to be not only making me more flexible, changing the shape of my body, it's also getting rid of these nagging little things from when I was a catcher, when I was playing sports. So yeah. And now notice how I've kind of opened up my hip a little bit. I'm feeling some pressure in my hip, so I'm just noticing that. I'm feeling a little bit of, I'm not really uncomfortable pressure. It still feels like, if I put more weight, my knee right here would feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I don't want to keep putting weight until it feels uncomfortable. I want to keep it as a nice stretch. I'm engaging my glute now to see if I can't straighten this knee a little bit more. And then as I do this, I'm also feeling the stretch all the way down into my foot, particularly on the inside, right next to my big toe. And as I noticed when I moved up like this, it really changed something down here in my foot. So again, like we were talking about earlier, from your toes all the way to your head, everything is attached. So I am right now engaging a lot of muscles in my pelvis here. I'm feeling a lot of glute activity because I really want this right here to relax just a little bit. And I'm also noticing as I move this way, all these muscles right in here are stretching with it. And sometimes you'll find that you won't be able to get a certain stretch, and it's because somewhere else is just too tight. One of the things I'm constantly telling my athletes is like, you're going to, they think that I'm crazy when I tell them that if they don't have the mobility in their trunk, that they're actually going to tear their ACL, because I work with a lot of rugby, they throw like this, and when you're throwing behind you, if you don't have that mobility here in the trunk, you're going to have to give somewhere. It's going to be that planted leg, and it's going to be your ACL. So, or have some other kind of meniscus, something. Eventually something will have to give. So that's one thing that you might notice, is that you start seeing all these patterns of like, oh, like seems to be really connected, and when I move over here like this, I start to feel it a lot more. I feel it up through my hip, adding to my arm to kind of add another extra element of stretching, just in a different way, and see what that does. Pushing some, again, some more weight into that hip, and now it feels like now I'm kind of working on a little bit more stretching that hamstring, but I'm also at the same time working on my calf and right here in front. So my hamstring's very engaged right now. I feel like it's really trying to do some work, and I feel like a line right through here, like in between probably my second and third toe, running straight up to my hip. So I'm just gonna kind of feel in that a little bit. I'm starting to get a little bit of tension in a not quite the tension that I want in my knee. So I'm gonna let that relax a little bit and shift and see if we can come about that in a different way, so it doesn't put any extra pressure on the knee that doesn't feel very good. Sometimes when I do this, I feel like little cracks and pops and bones moving back into alignment and things like that. That's all normal. You don't want to have pain. Everything should be feeling very relaxed and easy. Trying to activate muscles that maybe haven't been activated for a while, or like different muscle fibers of that specific muscle might have been turned off. So when you start engaging those muscles in different patterns in different ways, they might start to waken up again. You might feel a little sore afterwards. So right now, this leg, the side's feeling pretty good right now. Like it feels like I don't really notice the tension that I noticed before in my hamstring. I'm feeling pretty good. So I might call it a day on this leg, or I might switch to my other leg. Maybe I'll work a little bit more full body. We'll see. But if you enjoyed this video, please like me on Facebook, Somato Enlightenment. Like me on Instagram, Somato Enlightenment. I also have a website, somatoenlightenment.com. You can check that out. I do need to make some updates on it, but it's still got some basic information that might be useful. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and talk to you soon.